Welcome everybody to episode 9 of Reviews S tier. Now this time we're going to be looking at 2 games based on Zorro. But before we get into that, let's take a look at Zorro himself.
Zorro, Zorro, Zorro. If you say that name to anybody, they will instantly recognize him. The black clothing, his sword, his trusty steed. Really guys, who honestly doesn't know who Zorro is? He's one of the most famous heroes of all time. But of course, being one of the most famous heroes of all time meant that he needed some games. The first one we're going to look at is Zorro for the Atari 8-bit, the Apple II, and the Commodore 64. This is one which most people from the 80s should know because this is a childhood classic to them. So for those of you who had this game back then, here's a little trip down memory lane. Man, Zorro is really tanned. I mean, I know he's supposed to be Spanish, but I'm certainly sure that he's not so tan he changes skin color. And why exactly is his sword black? I know that the graphics were limited back then, but don't tell me you can't just use one color to clarify the sword. You managed to do it with the soldiers, so why not Zorro? Oh well, at least it looks better than the whip in the Raiders of the Lost Ark game. So as soon as you start the game, Zorro's girlfriend waves a handkerchief. Suddenly some douchebag decides to kidnap her. For what purpose, I have no idea. Probably your first instinct would be to follow her, but if you do that, then the door gets locked in your face. So what do you do now? You collect bits of clothing your girlfriend drops while she's being carried away. Yes, the only way to get to the castle is to grab all of her clothing and a glass of wine, or whatever that is. Wow, that boot is freaking huge. What is she, size 32? And damn, either Zorro is really small or everything in this bar is giant. And Christ, that is the biggest horseshoe I've ever seen. So if they've managed to make the handkerchief a normal size, why not the rest of the clothing? The controls feel a little stiff at first, but eventually you start to get used to it. However, the jump detection is completely unpredictable. Most of the time you'll just be able to make the jump, whereas other times you will fall through the platform. Look at this, why did I go through that? Speaking of unpredictable jump detection, I really hate this part. It takes a lot of trial and error to get from left to right perfectly. However, getting from right to left is impossible. Im-freaking-possible. I guarantee that you will lose a life in this part. So, being a Zorro game, you would kind of expect this to be a side-scroller where you're going around stabbing bad guys. You'd be dead wrong. This is actually a puzzle game. Now you may think this is kind of a stupid idea for a Zorro game, but it's actually quite fun using your brain to figure out where everything goes. There is some swordplay mechanics, but it only relies on you just mashing the button until you kill the guy before he kills you, so in my opinion it's kind of redundant. There's quite a lot of wacky stuff you have to pull off. You need to waste some dude so that you're able to bounce on his belly. You need to drop an enemy onto his chandelier so you can lift up a giant birthday present, which I only found by luck. And you need to use a brand on an ox. One thing that does get annoying is that there is a locked door on the screen and you have to carry a key to the door. Now you would think once you use the key you won't have to unlock the door again, but no! For some reason the door eats the key and then it magically vanishes back to the starting point. And this is the only way to get the items you need to collect the clothing. So you can imagine how many times you have to do this. As for the music, it's pretty catchy at first, but eventually you'll be wishing to listen to something else. It's also the only song in the game and it never stops. As soon as you place the bells in the right place, a hole will appear below a gravestone. If you go down, then it goes to an underground scene. The music is still the same, and the only thing different about it is that it's slowed down a bit and it changes to a minor key. This is where the platforming gets pretty tricky, because your timing has to be perfect in order to get to the next materializing platform. There are also money bags for you to collect for extra points, and there are 3 screens in this part which loop forever, and the first time playing I didn't even know where I was going. So after you collect all of the girl's clothing, then for the most part you're just going to be running around clueless as to what to do next. It doesn't seem like I'm able to get anything else in this room, so where am I supposed to go? Well, this is where the game starts to get insanely cryptic. As it turns out, the money bags were supposed to create a specific path to get to the last part. If you go anywhere else, then you have to start the game all over again. At first I thought I had to collect some of them to open the door to the tower, but after seeing that it did absolutely nothing, I decided to go back underground. And this is where you realize that the money bags don't come back. So unless you remember perfectly where all the money bags are, you're stuck. The game's over. That is a fatal flaw if I ever saw one. Just because you didn't assume they led to a path, you have to start the game all over again. What the freaking hell? Well, after collecting all the bits of clothing, again, I'm gonna have another go at the underground scene. And this time making sure to try and remember what the path is. So as soon as you get to the end of the path and climb the ladder, some jackass with a sniper rifle starts shooting at you. What? I'm back at the underground part? Oh, that is sadistic. Not to mention, why couldn't Zorro have a dying animation instead of just suddenly warping to the underground scene? I didn't know what happened the first time I got shot. So you're able to show Zorro dead when he's sword fighting an enemy, but when he gets shot, he just magically reappears somewhere else? Alright, finally, the last screen. The structure kinda reminds me of the Donkey Kong arcade game. The heart about the girl's head makes her look like Pauline. Oh man, I'm on the home stretch! I'm gonna rescue the girl! Yes!
Are you freaking kidding me? So I went through all that trouble just for her to throw me out of the tower? What kind of sick person does that? What, do you just want to stay captured? Is that what you want to do? There's gotta be something I need to do to properly beat this game.
Well, as it turns out, there is. You need to bring her a rose. And guess what? It's now suddenly appeared in the place you'd usually get the items. Why the hell would they make you do that? It's as if she's saying, "You're not a proper hero unless you bring me a flower." If you've seen that this space is empty, then you assume you've collected everything, right? So why is it that I had to pass through the most difficult part of the game and then avoidably take one of my lives away? There is actually a way to evade losing a life. All you need to do is jump off the tower and, well, that's it. Why would you think to jump off there in the first place? And once you go back underground, the money bags still don't reappear. Luckily I remember the past, so I'm just gonna say screw you, game. Okay, on to the second to last screen. Got the rose, going back. Oh no, I'm stuck in combat, damn it! Oh my god. Why do I have to go back to the beginning every time? Oh boy. Well, finally, after about the 5th or 6th time of collecting everything, I've got the rose to the last screen. Come on, move, 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 move! Oh man, almost there? Yes! Sweet Jesus, that was annoying. Well, in conclusion, this game actually isn't too bad, but it gets really tedious having to get all the stuff over and over again every time you get a game over. If it weren't for the stupid money trail and having to backtrack to get the freaking rose, I'd say this is worth trying out. So for my final score, I'll give this game a 7 out of 10, standing for somewhat good. I know that a lot of you are going to disagree with the score, but hey, all that matters is that you enjoy playing the game. So if you don't agree with what I had to say, that's fine. People have different opinions. Now let's move on with the Mask of Zorro for the Game Boy Color. Judging from the cutscenes, it seems to follow the movie by the same name. The graphics on these cutscenes for Game Boy standards are stunning. I'm shocked as to how clear the voices are, especially on Game Boy.
This is called the training circle, the Master's Wheel. It will be your world, your whole life. Until I tell you otherwise, there is nothing outside of it.
It's a little better than Ghostbusters, don't you think? The gameplay, however, is monotonous as all hell. The biggest complaint I have is the control. These controls are so freaking busted. You know how in most games to jump all you need to do is tap the jump button and sometimes you keep holding the button without realizing it? Well, you better be sure to let go of that jump button right away, because if you hold it down, Zorro will just keep jumping. So most of the time, you'll just be bouncing around. Not to mention, in order to jump, you have to press the B button. Have the programmers not played Super Mario Bros? Because anybody who's played that game will forever use the A button to jump. What the A button actually does in this game is go into some sort of battle pose if you hold it down. From here on, using the D-pad will make Zorro do different attacks and defenses. It takes forever to kill anybody, it just brings the pace to a complete halt. You could try jumping over them all you want, it'll never work. This whole procedure just feels stiff. There's no way you're able to kill anybody without them hurting you. So little by little, you're unavoidably gonna lose some health. Look at something like Ninja Gaiden. All you have is one attack, and almost every single enemy dies in one hit. This game is at least easy to pick up and play, despite the overall difficulty. And it's fun! You enjoy slashing through hordes of enemies, but in this game you have to stop and figure out what everything does through trial and error. And I gotta say, I hate the music. As for the gameplay graphics, the animation is pretty fluid. But would it kill the designers to give Zorro some eyeballs? As soon as you get to this part in the second level where you have to swing on this bar, this is where you realize how horrible the collision detection is. Oh, come on, why didn't he grab that? Okay, let's try again. Oh, for crying out loud, get over there! Oh, man. When you get to level 4, that's where the game becomes unplayable. Look at this, how do I kill this guy? I'm trying every possible attack and I can't kill him. It's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde where the cane attack does absolutely nothing. I still can't jump over him, so basically, you're stuck. That is one of the biggest flaws I've ever seen. Why do the rules of killing enemies change between each level? That's freaking ridiculous. So I'm sorry, I give up. I'm gonna use a code to skip to the next level. What? I can't kill him either? Oh, well, at least there's a glitch I can do where I can walk through him when I stab him. Why can't I suddenly do the glitch anymore? That's it, I can't take this anymore. The only thing good I can say about this is that the levels are really short, and I think there are only about 9 of them, so overall the designers took the name of Zorro and made a mockery of it. And you know what the really shocking part is? This game was made by Sunsoft, the same company that made the NES Batman game, and that game was freaking awesome. But here we got crappy music, boring gameplay, broken controls, enemies you can't kill, and hideous collision detection to equal an overall terrible game. I'll give this game a 2 out of 10, standing for absolutely horrid. I'm Josh Smith from Reviews of Yesteryear, and stay the hell away from this game!